Good evening everyone, and welcome to my very first live Facebook broadcast. I hope you can all see me here. I'm hoping I'm coming across. This is new to me, so please let me know if there's anybody out there. All right. My name's Hannon, and I run a clinic in Belfast. I run the Hannon Clinic, and it's a pain clinic. And I cover all types of pain, all kinds of physical, mental and emotional. And what I want to introduce you to tonight is how to get into your own heads, how to actually get in there and stop that constant negative thought pattern, how to get in and stop that head chatter, because it's that head chatter, that negative thought pattern that brings us down. So whether you have anxiety, depression, stress, low self-esteem, any of those issues, this is something that you can do to get in and actually take control of your thoughts. Now, in a wee minute, I'll explain to you about why I do this and how I get into all of this. But it was one of those things. If anybody's out there, could you let me know you're here? Thank you, Isabel, because I was kind of thinking I was hearing my own. Thank you, Isabel. Right now, because it's a bit odd here sitting me sitting talking to my phone at myself. I've never done this before, but thank you, Isabel. All right, now. I was about to explain to you that how I get into all of this. So when I teach people this, how to do this, I teach it from my own personal experience. A number of years ago, or when I started out my career, I always worked in management and never had any desire to do any kind of this type of work. But one of the jobs I was in, I outgrew the job. And when I outgrew the job, I decided to leave the firm, but the partner that I worked under asked me not to leave the firm. So I moved to a new department and couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. And 2 years later, I was like a complete basket case. And what I was diagnosed with was bullying by exclusion. All right. Now, I went back to work and then the outright bullying started. And from there, I just walked out one day. Just walked out. A year later, started my whole new business. I was a business consultant, but a year later, I hit the wall. And I was suicidal. So what I will teach you tonight in how to stop your thoughts is what I did at that time. Okay? So when you sort of get into this and get into your thoughts, you'll actually realise your thoughts are the only thing in your life that you can control. You have no control over anything else in your life. Absolutely nothing. Okay? And those of you who have wee small children running about, you know you can control where they eat and what time they eat and all of that. But you've no control over really what they're going to do. And if you can't even control your own children, wee small children, like what chance have you to control anything else in your life? The only thing you can control is your thoughts. And when you get the grip of it, and then you realise that you can get inside your own head and you can control your own thoughts, this is where everything starts to turn around for you. Okay? Now, I use this technique and I have worked with hundreds of people now through the clinic, and I have done it for stress, depression, low self-esteem, confidence for interviews, weight issues. I do it with pain. For anybody who's pain more than sort of 5-6 months, it moves to a different part of the brain. So I show them how to change their thoughts and how to move on from that. Now, tonight is just really about an introduction. And an introduction about how to do this so that you can actually go away and play with this, because my plan would be to do a talk every sort of week or so, and we'll build up on this and take you forward on this. Okay, I'm also going to upload all these videos onto YouTube so you can have a look at them later. So the first thing you need to do in order to be able to stop the incessant negative thinking, or that just that noise, that chat that goes on, is you need to know, first of all, what you are thinking about. Because most people tend to say to me, oh, but I do know what I was thinking about, Tippin. I do know, and it can tell me bits and pieces. But if I said to them, what were you thinking about when you drove the last, half hour to get to me here? And invariably they can't tell me. Because when you get into the car, you just kind of go into automatic pilot and the head just tends to go. Unless you have something to really think about and go through, your head just tends to go off on its own. So when you're doing those kind of things you're used to doing or things you know very well to do, the head just kind of goes off. Nighttime as well tends to be the worst time because you've no distraction. You get into bed, you close your eyes and the head starts to go. So I'm going to show you how to start and stop that. So to get to know what you're thinking about, the best way, in fact, the only way that I know of, and I've been doing this now for about 14 or 15 years, and I have studied this, and I have, covered, I've read and everything on this, and, well, not everything, but I've read quite a lot on this. And the only thing that I have ever come across is what I actually did. And what you do is you literally stop yourself and you ask yourself, what was I thinking about there? So in that second, in that very moment when you stop yourself, you ask yourself, what was I thinking about there? Because most of us just let this run. And this tends to run in what's called habit loops. And I'll explain that a wee bit more later. All right? So when you actually stop yourself and you actually look at what you're thinking about, you become the observer. When you become the observer of your thoughts, that's when you start and take control. Okay? When you start and observe what your thoughts and you actually see what you're thinking and see what you're saying to yourself, you'll realise how mad your head is, how nuts it is. But you are not the only one. A lot of time when clients come in to me and they've done this for the first week, they'll go, geez, Tiffany, I couldn't believe some of this. Thoughts from 1984 were coming up, or, conversations with people that you're driving me up the wall were kept coming up. But if you actually put a microphone to somebody's mind, anybody's mind, the chances are the nonsense that's running about in their head, it's mad, clean mad. But when you take control of that, you can actually change everything. It actually, your energies will lift as well, because there's energies around the thought. So when you tune in, all you literally need to do is in that second, just stop and ask yourself. It's like stepping back inside your head and you become the watcher of your thoughts. So you step back inside your head and you kind of go, what was I thinking about there? Just in that second. Now, not 2 or 3 minutes before, or not what you're going to think about, just in that second. Okay? Now, when you catch yourself that you've been just thinking something that doesn't mean anything. So say you tune in at 1 o'clock and you're just about to go on your lunch break, and you tune in and your thought actually was, have I any money to go in there and buy sandwiches? Literally just that. Have any money in my purse to go and buy sandwiches? That's an okay thought. And I use the analogy, your mind is a garden, your thoughts are seeds. You can choose to plant flowers or you can choose to plant weeds. So that's an okay thought. So that's a flower. Okay, that's not doing you any harm. That's grand. And that's when I teach people to start then and plant the flowers. So when you have a thought that really means nothing to you, it's okay. Start and tell yourself, I am okay. Because we're not reared in this country to tell ourselves, I'm okay, I'm great, I'm brilliant. And when I ask people this, when I'm starting out, I'll usually ask people, do you love yourself? And 99% of people they don't even know how to love themselves, because we're not used to talking to ourselves about how great we are, how brilliant we are. We can say it in everybody else, but we don't say it to ourselves. And it's not a case that you run about, when you get this, you run about going, oh, look at me, look, I'm just amazing. You don't do that, but you become very content in here. And you become very settled. So when you tune in at 1 o'clock and your thought is, have you any money in the purse to go for sandwiches? Tell yourself, I'm okay. Because that's planting the flowers. We're going to plant the good thoughts. So when you tune in at 2 o'clock and you're maybe back at your desk at work, or you're dandering about the shops or in the car or something, and you realise when you tune in at 1 o'clock, you're thinking about something that you don't want to think about. Something he said to you 3 days ago. Something that really annoyed you. Or your man's coming in to see me now, and you're starting to get ready for him, and you're starting to get geared up for him. Okay. When you start and find that you're thinking about something like that, that's a weed. And we need to start and weed those out. All right? Now, the reason why I would get you I would usually ask people, tune in on a regular basis. Tune into your thoughts. If you can, tune in every hour. Because the more you tune in, the quicker you get this. It's like anything. If you train for something, the more you train, the quicker you get there. So if you tuned in every hour, the good thing is, at 1 o'clock, you were okay. Now at 2 o'clock, you're not okay. But you're not okay for maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, but at the very most 59 minutes. Because this thing hasn't got the grip of you. And you'll know, any of those of you out there who have those thoughts that run, they'll run and they'll run and they'll run. And many of the time, they run that much, they bring you right down. In the past, I remember years and years and years ago, before I got into any of this, I remember being in bed one night and crying my eyes out. Now, I was thinking about Jimmy Savile. Now, this was years ago, when I was in my 20s. I have no idea what I was thinking about, but I had beaten myself up that much that I was crying my eyes out. It was all in my head. So you'll understand what I'm talking about when you see, you know, when it gets a grip of you. So when you've tuned in at 2 o'clock and you find you have one of those thoughts you don't want to be thinking about, the only way to do this, the only way to stop it, is you have to train your thoughts to move to a different part of the brain. And this is my story. This is what I actually did, and this is how I came about all of this. With all the bullying that went on, I just was living inside my head all the time. Couldn't get out of my head. My son at that stage was about 8 or 9 years old. And I remember actually looking at him on one stage and going, you know, I know I love you, but there was nothing there. I had no feeling within me for my son. That's how far gone I was. My head was so gone. And I used to go walking. All the time to clear my head. But sure, that's the worst thing you can do, because when you're walking, you have nothing really to distract you. But this one day I was out walking, and as I came round this really bad corner, right where I live, we have a really bad bend that comes down a hill and then round another bend. And as I came round the bad bend, now I was on the wrong side of the bend. I was over at the hedge side, the bad side where you shouldn't have been where the cars was. But literally when I got round that bend, literally when I got to that point, now I'd been walking for about an hour at this stage, and I had this one thing going round and round and round and round. And I still remember to this day what that was and who I was thinking about. But as I come round that corner, out of nowhere, I don't know where it came from, but I actually went, I'm thinking about that. And in a panic, I actually went, look at the hedge, look at the hedge, look at the hedge. And I forced myself to look at the hedge. And I forced myself to stand there and look and go, oh, look, that leaf's a different colour to that leaf, and that leaf's a different colour to that one. And I talked to the hedge for 2 or 3 minutes about the hedge. And then I lifted my head and I could see the calves in the field. I went, oh, Geraldine's got 4 calves this year. And as I turned round, I could see the flowers in Geraldine's garden. And I walked down to the bottom of the hill. And when I got to the bottom of the hill, the thought that I chased away came back. But it was the first time ever I stopped that. I didn't know you could stop your thoughts. I didn't know at that stage you could control your thoughts. What I actually did, and this is what I want you to practice, because I didn't know at the time what I did, but I started to do this a wee bit more and a wee bit more and a wee bit more. What I actually did that day was I interrupted the habit loop. Those thoughts that get into your head. Do you know when somebody has said something to you and you go over it and over it and over it? Well, that creates what's called a habit loop. And that runs back here in this limbic system part of the brain, back here, okay? Now, what I did that day when I talked to the head was I interrupted the habit loop and I brought my thoughts to my prefrontal cortex, which is the front part of your brain. So any of you out there who drive, you'll understand this, because when you first learn to drive, you get into the car and you had to think about everything. You had to think about indicators, mirrors, everything. You were using your prefrontal cortex. You had to think it out. Now you get into the car. You have a habit loop for driving. You don't tend to think about it unless somebody drives out in front of you, and then you're waking up and you kind of get into automatic mode. Okay, you go into that kind of mode of to think it all out. Okay? So, what we're trying to do is interrupt these habit loops. And I see these habit loops like a really spoiled child. So the first time you interrupt it by bringing your thoughts to something else, you have to think about something else. This notion of, oh, bring in a lovely positive thought. Now, when you're really low, you cannot do that. As I said to you before, you know, I couldn't even feel love for my child. If I had brought in a lovely I thought of my child, it wasn't going to change anything for me. So, talking to the hedge meant nothing to me. So when at the start, when you get this, you have to look at something. You have to force yourself to look at something and make yourself actually think about that, because that's what bringing the concentration to here. And I would always say, look at something that means nothing to you. You know, I talk to the hedge. I've had clients who have lifted tissue boxes and looked at the colours and the decorations on them. I've had clients who've had posters on their walls that they've seen for years, but what they did was they started to count the letters. I've had clients, when they're driving, will look at all the number plates in the cars and read the number plates out loud and see how many 7s they can get, how many 5s they can get, that type of thing, okay? It's finding a way to bring your thoughts to here to make you think. Because when you do that, you start to train this, as I say, this spoiled child. Now, like any spoiled child, if you had a spoiled child coming into your house and you're making the dinner and they go, can I have a sweet? And you go, no. That's what I mean by you interrupt this habit loop. You bring your thoughts to here. This thing here, like a spoiled child, will go away and go, oh, what was that? Nobody's ever said no to me before. And they go away for a minute or two, but it comes back. Okay? It comes back. So just like I was at the top of the hill and I had one thought, and then I was able to distract myself and I got to the bottom of the hill, the thought came back again. So it comes back. Because that spoiled child's not going to give up on you. So when it comes back, just distract yourself again. And it'll go away again. Okay. Now, a spoiled child will come in 3 or 4 times and ask for the sweet before it realises it's not getting one off you. So what I mean is, every time you distract, it'll go away, it'll come back. This ego mind, as it's called, does not want to let go of the grip of you. It feeds on your negativity. The more negative you are, the more low you feel, the stronger it is. The more low you feel, the more this runs and runs and runs. The more this runs and runs, the more low you feel. So you're in that vicious circle. So now we're starting to break that. So what you'll find as well, that like a spoiled child when it realises it's not getting a sweet, it's going to come back and go, well, can I have a banana? And what I mean by that is, say you're thinking about your man, or you see when he comes into me again, he says, and you've all this going on in your head, and it's going round and round, and you manage to break that out. But a child coming in asking for a banana, what I mean by that is that thought has gone. But then the thought comes in of, oh, washing machines in the blink, how am I going to afford that? And it's a whole different drama, but it's still bringing you down. Now, the good thing is, the more you do this, the more you do this, the more you do this. It's like training that spoiled child. The more you train that spoiled child, it's just not getting it because the dinner's on. There'll come a time that child will be fine. And it might the very, very odd time flare up and ask for something. So taking the grip of your thoughts and taking control of your thoughts is a 2-step process. First of all, tune in and ask yourself, what am I thinking about there? When you find you're just thinking about something that's okay, means nothing to you, that's when you tell yourself, I am okay. If you're doing great, tell yourself I'm great. Because what we're trying to do is build you up, build you up, build you up, okay? Because we're very good at putting ourselves down. So tell yourself, I am okay, and it's always I am. So, and I'll explain about I am in another session about how powerful that is. So when you tune in and you find you're having a thought you don't want to think about, the only way to stop it is literally force yourself to look at something else. Because when you look at something else, you actually bring your thoughts to your prefrontal cortex. Interrupts that habit loop, interrupts that noise. Now, it takes a bit of practice. And, quite often I'd ask people, people ask me, like, how long does this take? Now, if I could guide you to my YouTube channel, there's a video on it and there's a gentleman on it talking about his story. He was probably one of the most... He had it the longest. He'd had this going on in his life for years and years and years. Now, he worked at it. And within 8 weeks, his life completely changed. 8 weeks. I've seen people change within 2, 3, 4 weeks. Depending on how bad it is, how bad it's got the grip of them. Okay? Now, this gets you into that way of actually thinking a bit more positive. It's not that you're running about all happy, happy, happy. But it gets you out of that low negative slump into be able to think about things that really don't mean an awful lot to you. Because from there, we can build you up. And that's what I want to cover in future sessions. So now my plan is to actually be able to tune in every Wednesday night about this time for about 10-15 minutes. And what I'll do is I'll build upon this and I'll build upon this and I'll teach you the techniques of don't take it personally, letting it go, all of that. But it all comes down to what you're thinking. Now, I can help you and I can teach you the techniques, but I can't get inside your head to do it. You need to do it yourself. But I promise you it's worth it. Your energies will lift, your mood will lift, you'll just feel so much better. And as I said to you earlier about that, you're in that constant spiral down the ways. When you start to get the grip of this, you'll start to spiral up. And I'll show you how to bring life from going like this to more like this. Because most of you'll know, if you're in around my age especially, like life does hit you a good slap every now and again. And you can't be happy all the time. But what I will teach you is about how to be very content and how very settled within yourself. The other side of all of this, what I do, is for pain, okay? And a lot of the stuff, the physical side of pain that I'm dealing with, sometimes I have to lift the person's spirits just because they've been in pain for so long. But sometimes the pain is because of the nonsense in their head. So in future ones, I'll take you through different techniques, but everything is starts on the basis of tune into your thoughts, get to see what you're thinking, and then force yourself to look at something else till you get like 2 minutes, 10 minutes, you make it the full day. Because if you think about it, if you force yourself to look, say you're looking at the detail on a scarf that you have on you, that you've just threw on you, never really looked at the detail before, and you start to get into the detail of that, then you'll start to see certain colours you never noticed before. The next thing you know, you're up in your wardrobe trying to find the blouse that you have that's similar to that colour. Or you might take yourself down to the shopping centre. You know, it just kind of gathers momentum. And this is what I'm trying to show you, is how to take control. My life literally has completely transformed, and I've seen the lives of many, many people in front of me transform with the basics of this. Seriously, with the basics. And it comes down to you taking control of what you think about. Now, I listen to a lot of stuff on YouTube. I read a lot of books. So over the time, every time I come on here, I will actually take you through a few ideas, a few, maybe references. I'll point you to places where to go and listen to or what to read to help get you going. Because from there, you will be able to find other things that suit you. So back to the 2 basics to practice. All right, and going forward when I'm doing this, you can PM me or send me messages anytime, and I do my best to answer you. Okay. Now, anybody that's in a deeper state, I probably can't do very much by messaging. I'd have to have a chat with you. But if you start with this, literally tune in on your thoughts. So stop yourself every hour on the hour. Now, the more you do it, the better. But if you say to do it every hour on the hour, stop yourself and go, what was I thinking about right there? If it's a good thought, tell yourself I'm okay. If it's a bad thought, distract yourself. Force yourself to look at something else. Okay, I hope you find this really useful now. Anybody that's got any messages, I'll be here for the next maybe 15-20 minutes. PM me if you've any messages. Now, next week, what I'm going to get into is a wee bit on about the different types of thought as I see them, and what they do to you and why they are the way they are, and the sort of things that they sort of say to you, but why you need to tune out more out of this and listen more to the good thoughts. So we'll do that. I'll tune in next Wednesday again at 8:30. Now, I'm going to upload this video onto my YouTube channel, so if you want to watch it again, in full, go onto my YouTube channel. But I hope you found it useful. So thanks very much for your time, and good night.